and welcome. Today I'm going to be starting yet more seeds. Now I've planted the peas and beans and sweet corn into the polytunnel. My underbed storage trays are free and ready for more seed starts. The order of the day is sunflowers and squash. Now I've got lots of different sunflower seeds I want to plant this year. I have a packet of sunflower seeds with some seeds left from last year. These are sunflower giant single yellow. I also have seeds I harvested from my giant single yellows last year, so I'll be planting those as well. Some sunflower seeds sent from my brother, and these are sunflower seeds designed for growing sunflower shoots that you would use in a salad mix. You're supposed to plant these seeds, grow them to little short shoots of 2 or 3 inches long, then you would cut them off and put them in a salad mix. But I'm going to grow them into full-size sunflowers and see what we get. So lots of different varieties of sunflowers. I've chosen a tall pot to put my sunflowers in. We're 3 inches across and 3.5 to 4 inches deep. But to start with, I'm only going to half fill these tall pots with compost. Plant my seed in the usual manner. Poke a hole with my finger, pop in the seed and push the compost over the top of it. Once these seedlings have grown past the rim of the pot, then I will fill up the rest of the pot with compost. This gives me a nice, stable, secure, strong foundation for those tall sunflowers they're going to become. And when I transplant these sunflowers out into the open ground, I will do exactly the same and bury the plant right up to its first set of leaves to give it a real good, strong, stable base. Remember, these sunflowers are hopefully going to get even taller than me, so they need a good, strong foundation to hold up that big, heavy stem and head. And in my other tray, I'm planting squashes. Now usually I will plant a huge variety of different squash, Crown Prince, Turk's Turban, Blue Hubbard, Pink Banana. But this year I'm going to concentrate on just a couple of varieties. Main variety I want to grow is a squash called Delicata. I still have a couple left from last year. Let me find one and show you. These are a couple of Delicata squash I have left from last year's harvest, and I like them. They're a really tasty sweet squash, a nice size for a one-person meal, and really, because of their small size, they're really quick to cook. So quick to cook, delicious to eat, and with a long storage capacity, because these were last year's autumn harvest and we're now April, and these are still fit to eat. In fact, I had one yesterday, so more Delicata because it's one I really, really enjoy eating. So I have seeds of Delicata from my own Delicata squash, and I also have a few seeds of Delicata left over from last year's seed packet, so I'll plant those. And along with my squashes this year, I have these great big seeds of a squash I grew last year. I'll find a picture, stick it on the screen. It's a great big pumpkin shaped squash in a strange colour combination of turquoisey blue and peach, and they were a really tasty eat. So they came from a previous year's cross-pollination. So it's not a specific named variety. They made really great Halloween carving pumpkins, and it was a nice tasty squash eating for dinner and making soups and roasting in the oven. So I'm going to grow some seeds from those squash. I don't know how these might turn out because we don't know what they cross-pollinated with last year. Did they pollinate with themselves or did they pollinate with something else I was growing? Here's a clip of last year's turquoisey peachy pumpkin. Big pumpkin. And they're sitting on a pumpkin. Pumpkin for riding on. Yeah. So heavy. Oh. Well, pick it up. Oh my. And lastly, in the squash variety, I have some melon seeds. Now I've already started a few small melon plants. They're sitting on an upstairs window ledge, not quite ready for the polytunnel yet. But these are actually melon seeds from a honeydew melon I bought in the supermarket. So I'm going to plant these and see if they will grow a melon for me this year. That's today's planting. So I'll get these planted and then I'll show you how my other seed starts are getting on. That's it, seeds all planted. Now I did plant 4 pots with butternut squash that I didn't say at the beginning of the video. I'd forgotten they were there. So this tray is just a mixture of squashes. So I'll give them some water in a minute and we'll pop on the lids. So that's mixed squash. Now I decided with my sunflowers, a last minute decision, I've actually put 2 seeds in each of my pots. Now that is not something I would advise you to do. As I say, sunflowers are going to become a very big plant. But I've done it now, so we'll see what happens. I have enough space to plant all of those sunflowers, but putting 2 in each seed pot is probably not a very good idea. You could weed out the weakest one and throw it in the compost, but let's be honest, who's going to throw away perfectly good viable plants? I suppose I could gift them to friends. So a mix of sunflowers, all different varieties, and my supermarket honeydew melons. Now, I said I was going to update you with how everything else is growing in the seed front, so let's push these out the way while we're in big underbed storage boxes. Yay! These are the apple pips I planted. I have some more in another tray, the slightly smaller trees. Turn you round. This is the way they've been facing the sun. There. Apple pips. Oh, drippy wet. Wonderful, sturdy little apple trees. So they're doing splendidly. Where should I pop you? There. I started off some pepper seeds and they're doing quite nicely. I've had 2 of these little pots, grew nothing. I don't know, they just didn't. Now these were a mix of a capsicum pepper and a paprika pepper. And initially I had 6 little pots with capsicum in and 6 little pots with the paprika in, and I knew what was what. But then one of my lovely cats decided to knock it over and I had compost and seeds scattered all over the floor. Absolute miracle. I did manage to find all of the seeds. I couldn't believe it. So we repotted them, but I don't know which is capsicum and which is paprika anymore. They're just peppers. But they're doing nicely, and these are actually ready to plant into the polytunnel. But we are forecast a cold snap on the way, so I'm going to leave them in these pots for now and keep them well watered and wait till that cold snap has blown past, because they will not like it. Even in the polytunnel, they won't be keen on very cold weather outside. What else have we got growing? Ooh, my date seeds have started germinating. So these were date pips from fresh dates bought at the greengrocers. So I've got 3. I think I planted 5 or 6 seeds. I can't remember, but I've had 3 germinate. And these were put in the propagator for some heat until they got going. But they've been sat on a sunny window ledge for the past week or 2. Once they germinated and shot up little green shoots, they've been out onto a sunny window ledge and seem to be doing quite nicely. So that's the beginning of my date palms. a house plant. They'll never manage outdoors in the UK. Another house planty one are these kumquats. So I've got 6 little seeds that have germinated from my kumquats. I don't think I planted much more than that. They're doing really well. But I've got 3 looking really strong and 3 a bit more puny. So we'll see how they get on. So kumquats, supermarket bought, save the seed, grown kumquat. Just like I did with the dates. And my ginger is doing wonderfully too. So this started from some ginger root that I bought at the supermarket, left to start sprouting little green shoots, and then I put it into these shallow trays, just covered with soil, and did put it in the propagator for a few days to give it a bit of a head start in early February, might even have been January, I can't remember. I recently potted it up into these big pots. Like my sunflower pots, it's only half full of soil. Ginger likes to grow out sideways rather than deep, so it doesn't need a deep bed. It just needs more space to spread out. I've actually got 2 pots looking like this with my ginger. So I have 2 pots now from ginger that sat in this little green tray to 2 pots, to these 2 big pots of ginger stems. So these can go into the polytunnel. They'll enjoy that hot tropical climate when that cold snap has blown through. And lastly, some herbs. So I've got my dill that's just taking over, and I keep munching bits off, snapping off stems and eating them. It's really thirsty, I have found. I'm giving it lots and lots of water. Now I don't know if that's because it's contained in these pots or whether dill's just a really thirsty plant. I find basil is very thirsty too and likes lots and lots of water. And finally, my oregano is going quite well. It's finally looking like a healthy plant that's going to survive. I had a real struggle getting this going. I tried it in the propagator and it didn't like the heat. So eventually it was just left sat on a window ledge with a cover to get the seeds started. And finally, growing slowly, but we have plants. So this one's been quite a struggle for me this year. But I'm really pleased we finally cracked it. And that's it for Seedling Update today. I'm off to feed the fish. Went to my pond and discovered my koi fish were happily laying lots and lots of tiny little eggs. To make sure they don't all get gobbled up by the rest of the fish, I've taken some weed out of the pond and put it in this large black dustbin, full of water of course. Once they hatch and become tiny fish, they'll be perfectly safe to go back into the pond. Koi are vegetarians and won't eat the baby fish, even though they do eat the eggs. Amazingly, I managed to take this wonderful photo of the eggs stuck on a piece of pondweed. This is an egg on day 4. If you look very closely, you can see 2 little black dots in this egg. That's the eyes of the baby fish inside. Keep watching and you can actually see it move. Here's another egg. The fish does a big spin inside. Apparently it takes 3 to 5 days before they hatch. With these 2 you can see the eyes very clearly, I thought. Keep your eye on the closest one and see it move. I think that's enough for egg watching. Hope I get some good pictures of the baby fish when they hatch. So whilst we're here, I thought we'd have a quick tour of the polytunnel and make sure everything's growing the right way up. At the very bottom, I have sweet corn in this end bed. These are my excess sweet corn. I grew too many seedlings. I'll still enjoy eating the excess corn, no doubt. My one-eared black sheep is standing guarding the potatoes. These will be my first early potatoes. They're a good 18 inches tall now. The bigger ones, possibly 2 feet. Moving to the plastic pig with strawberries, 2 strawberry plants and a tomato. Gardener's Delight. I can't remember what variety the strawberries are. I think it's written on the back of their label. Next bed along we have garden peas. And on the other side, some lettuces growing. Yet another plastic sheet. They're everywhere. In this bed are my sweet corn and bean combination. The intention was the sweet corn stalks would give the bean plants some support. But at the moment, the beans are as big as the sweet corn. So it's not quite working as planned. The lettuces in this bed are doing really well. I can see I was obviously favouring the red leafed lettuce because I do like them and they really make a salad look so pretty. But I've ended up, I think, with more reds than green. So I really need to get more green planted. I love lettuce. And next along, more garden peas. And on the other side of these, I have some gherkins. By scanning close, and here we can see the gherkin plant. And there's a few. I think I've got 3 or 4 along this row of peas. There's another gherkin. And another one. Swinging us round to the other side. In this first bed on the other side, I've got the rest of the gherkins planted. So lots of gherkin plants this year, so hopefully lots of little baby cucumbers from them. But this very end one that looks just like the gherkins is actually not a gherkin at all, it's a melon. Most of my melon plants are still safely tucked indoors in the warm, but I thought I would risk this one plant. It's slightly colder here overnight, and we were forecast a few frosts, which we have had, but it seems to be doing very well. And on the next bed round, beetroots that were planted in the autumn and onion sets. Oh, and some onion seed as well. And that's it for the polytunnel today. Everything's certainly starting to green up in here very nicely. Outdoors, the prettiest thing I'd like to show you are these lovely purple primroses. They've certainly been a cheery sight these past couple of frosty mornings. If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to click that like button and let me know. Click subscribe and YouTube will make sure you see my next video. So bye for now, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget, whatever you're doing, have fun doing it.